Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're wrapping up section 2 of our book, The Green Thumb, where we talk about the Father and how we can participate with Him in our vineyard work. Today, I just want to talk to pastors and leaders or church workers to let you know that you have a Father. In fact, this summary letter at the end of this section simply says we're talking about the Father and the pastor-teacher. I love my dad. I had a great dad. He was humble. He was kind. He was stern at times, and he corrected me and really tried to help build my character. I learned an awful lot about life when I was working with him. But I always felt safe with him, knowing he would never harm me or hurt me. But I also know he knew how to take on a job. And even in my life now, I've been facing some jobs I've never done before, and sometimes I wish I had my dad around because he would know how to do it and he would be strong and capable and secure. Well, those of us who serve in ministry, we have a Father, Father God. And there are some things that I just wanted to emphasize in this particular letter to you that might be an encouragement. Number one, God was a Father before He was a creator. You say, Joe, where'd you get that? Well, I got it from Jesus' words in John 17 and verse 5. And now, O Father, glorify me together with yourself with the glory which I had with you before the world was. And so our definition of who God is needs to come from what Jesus says He is. And before He ever created anything, He was a Father to Jesus. And so I think that's good to know. A second thing is this. He loves you just as much as He loved Jesus. And that's, when I say that almost sounds unbelievable to me, because what grace would it take for someone to love me as much as they love Jesus? Well, here's what Jesus said, I and them and you and me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that you have sent me, and that you have loved them as you have loved me. And so really, we're not short on love from the Father. He loves us. He loves us just as much as He loved His Son. So as you're doing ministry, please understand you have a Father, and you have a Father who loves you just as much as He loved Jesus. That should make a difference in the way we think about our lives and ministries. But the third thing we need to remember is that He wants you to work rested. And boy, I'm not good at that. But I know Hebrews chapter 3 and Hebrews chapter 4 talks about the rest we need to have in God. And often I've heard that term, we need to work rested. And why? Because we are believing from the heart that we have a Father, and we are believing from the heart that He loves us unconditionally. And everything that He does in our lives and ministries is to conform us to the image of His Son, Jesus. Listen, this is what Athanasius said. Our definition of God must be built on the Son who reveals Him. As a Father, He must be family. And if God is a Father, then He must be relational and life-giving. Wow, good. This next sentence is really good. Someone whose very presence makes you better, even if only for a while when you are with them, are an invaluable asset for Christian life and ministry. Have you ever had maybe struggling with something, and then someone comes into the room and their presence and their attitude is so life-giving that it lifts your spirits and then launches you into your work and you have strength? That's what God does to us. This God, He says, is love in such a profound and potent way that you simply cannot know Him without yourself becoming loving. And that's what Jesus asks us to do with the sheep He gives us. And so when I think about pastoring a church or leading some sheep, Jesus said, do you love me, Peter? Peter said, yes. And then Jesus said, feed my sheep. So if we have a Father that loves us as much as He loves Jesus, it ought to make us loving toward those around us. And I just pray that as you read this blog and study this out, this thought, that you'll be able to see your work in a different light and that you'll be able to enjoy it and work rested. God bless. Thanks for checking in. Check out our website, paradigm1.org. Check out our blog. God bless.